Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're embarking on a really fascinating journey to unpack one of the world's most enduring and honestly most famous legends. We're going to dive right into decoding the enigma of the Atlantic. We'll be cutting through all the noise, the rumors, the myths, and looking at precisely what the actual evidence tells us about the Bermuda Triangle. Let's get started.
Now I want you to imagine something for a second. You're flying over a perfectly calm, brilliantly blue ocean on a beautiful, bright, sunny day. Everything seems completely normal, but suddenly, your navigation instruments just start acting strangely. Your radio communication gets incredibly weak, filled with static. And then, without a single trace, your aircraft completely disappears. Pretty terrifying thought, right? I mean, what actually happens when your navigation fails over an endless blue ocean? Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, a world-famous mystery. So that chilling scenario I just asked you to imagine, that isn't just a plot from some sci-fi movie. It's actually the exact setup for a mystery that has baffled the world for decades. The Bermuda Triangle is a very real, defined region in the North Atlantic Ocean. It's roughly bounded by Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. And for years, this exact geographic area has been heavily associated with mysterious disappearances of ships and aircraft. It's right here in this specific space that decades of stories about lost vessels, missing planes, and completely unexplained events have basically birthed one of the world's most famous modern mysteries. Moving on to Section 2, the Flight 19 disappearance. To truly understand the sheer power of this legend, we have to look at how one specific, incredibly dramatic historical event completely cemented the Triangle's terrifying reputation. It started simply enough back in December 1945 with a routine training mission by a group of 5 U.S. Navy bombers. They were known as Flight 19. But mid-flight, things went horribly, horribly wrong. The pilots reported that their compasses were malfunctioning and they could no longer figure out their location. Their radio transmissions became increasingly confused and frantic until contact was lost completely. And the truly chilling final act of this tragedy, a massive rescue aircraft was quickly dispatched to search for Flight 19, and, well, it also vanished. It added this massive, undeniable layer of mystery to the whole incident.
Neither Flight 19 nor the massive rescue plane sent after it was ever fully recovered. Just let that sink in for a moment. 5 bombers and a rescue aircraft simply swallowed up by the sea without a trace. It's exactly this lack of closure, this massive gaping hole where answers should be, that served as the primary spark to ignite decades of wild speculation.
Which brings us to Section 3, monsters, myths, and methane.
And this brilliantly illustrates the divide we see. The complete absence of hard evidence from incidents like Flight 19 inevitably led to an absolute explosion of hypotheses over the years. Because when facts are scarce, human imagination fills the void, right? So on one hand, we have scientific hypotheses. Some researchers suggest that underwater methane gas eruptions could actually reduce water density, literally removing the buoyancy beneath a vessel, causing ships to sink unexpectedly without any warning. Others point to unusual magnetic anomalies that might directly interfere with navigation equipment, which actually lines up pretty perfectly with the compass failures reported by Flight 19. But then, on the other hand, we get the more imaginative theories. We get stories involving extraterrestrial activity, literal time portals, or even the idea that hidden remnants of the lost city of Atlantis are lurking beneath the ocean. While these ideas absolutely capture the imagination and, let's be honest, make for fantastic stories, it's vital to note that none have been proven by any scientific evidence. So let's look at Section 4, the scientific reality. Let's step away from the speculation for a minute. What do the actual data and experts tell us about the North Atlantic? Well, when scientists analyze the Bermuda Triangle, they generally believe it is not uniquely dangerous in some supernatural way. Instead, the region is known for severe compounding environmental hazards. Sudden storms can whip up without much warning at all. The waters there are driven by the Gulf Stream, which is an incredibly powerful and swift ocean current that can cause highly unpredictable weather conditions and, crucially, rapidly erase evidence of a disaster. When you put these perfectly natural elements together, they can severely challenge and overwhelm even the absolute most experienced pilots and veteran sailors. So the crucial point is this. When you look at the raw data, the Bermuda Triangle sits right inside one of the busiest shipping and aviation routes in the entire world. And that leads us directly to the statistical reality. High traffic simply means accidents are statistically more likely to occur. It is basically a numbers game. The expert consensus is very clear. When you adjust for the sheer volume of ships and planes passing through, the incident rate in the Bermuda Triangle is not significantly higher than in any other heavily traveled region on the planet. The real culprit isn't a sea monster or a time portal. It's simple mathematics combined with highly congested transit lanes and unpredictable weather. Which leads us to our final part, Section 5, the allure of the unknown. Now, what's really interesting about this is, if the science is so incredibly clear, why does the legend persist? Well, despite solid scientific explanations, our own brains kind of keep the Bermuda Triangle alive. Human beings are just naturally drawn to mysteries. We have this inherent fascination with unexplained disappearances and unanswered questions. It's the potent combination of real, tragic incidents, like the loss of Flight 19, fused with highly dramatic stories. Add in decades of continuous speculation, and you've got a cultural legend that is almost impossible to dismantle. So I'll leave you with this. Is the Bermuda Triangle truly a place of supernatural forces, or simply an illusion of mystery created by natural conditions and human error? The scientific data strongly points to the latter, but the absolute truth of every single historic disappearance may honestly never be fully known. And perhaps that's exactly why we keep coming back to it. Because until every single question is definitively answered, the Bermuda Triangle will remain one of the greatest mysteries of the modern world. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next one.